Hi, today's lesson we will be looking at identifying which function to use when using trigonometry. Will we be using the sine function, the cosine function, or the tan function? Now, in order to do this, we need to know SOHCAHTOA. So the S in SOHCAHTOA stands for sine, the O stands for opposite, and the H stands for hypotenuse. The C stands for cosine or cos, the A stands for adjacent, and H stands for hypotenuse. The T stands for tangent or tan when abbreviated, the O stands for opposite, and the A stands for adjacent. So we need to know SOHCAHTOA, as this will help us figure out which function we are using, if we're using the sine function, the cosine function, or the tan function. Let's have a look at some triangles then to see. Now, before we do that, I've just put SOHCAHTOA into these triangles here. Sometimes it's better to write it like this. That's only when you are working out either a side length or an angle, because this will help you. But to actually identify which function to use, you don't actually need the triangles, but you could still draw these out, as it will help you further along when you're working out the side length or the angle. So the first triangle here we've got is this one here. We need to label the triangle first. Opposite to the right angle is the hypotenuse always. The hypotenuse is the largest side of the triangle, and it's always opposite to the right angle. Now, x centimeters is opposite to the angle, so it's the opposite. Which one uses opposite and hypotenuse? Well, sine here uses opposite and hypotenuse, so it's that one here. So the function we will be using is sine. Okay, on the calculator to work out the side length. Let's have a look at another example. So again, 9 is opposite to the right angle, so that's the hypotenuse. And then x is the adjacent. Adjacent means next to, so it's next to the angle, therefore we're going to label that as adjacent. Which one uses A and H from SOHCAHTOA? Well, sine uses opposite and hypotenuse, so it's not that one. Cosine uses adjacent and hypotenuse, so it's that one. So the function we will be using is cosine or cos. Next one, again, x is opposite to the right angle, that's the hypotenuse. 9 centimeters next to the angle, therefore that's the adjacent. So again, we're looking for which function uses the adjacent and the hypotenuse. Well, sine uses opposite and hypotenuse, so it's not that one. Cosine uses adjacent and hypotenuse, so that's what we're looking for. So we'll be using cosine or cos again. Okay. Let's have a look at another example. So in this situation here, we've got opposite to the angle, that's opposite, and we've got next to the angle, that's adjacent. So which one uses opposite and adjacent? Well, sine uses opposite and hypotenuse, not that one. Cosine uses adjacent and hypotenuse, again, not that one. But tan here uses opposite and adjacent, that's what we are looking for. So the function we will be using is tan or tangent. Let's have a look at another triangle here. So we've got the opposite and we've got the adjacent again. And then we can see again that the tan uses the opposite and the adjacent. So again, we will be using tan. Just one more example that I'm going to show you to do with an angle this time. Okay, that's my right angle triangle. Let's say that there is 47 degrees. That there is 14 centimeters. And that there is 18 centimeters. Actually, we'll just say that there is x centimeters. Which function will we be using? Will we be using sine, cosine, or tan? So label your triangle first. We've got opposite to the angle, and we've got opposite to the right angle, which is hypotenuse. Which one will we be using? Well, SOHCAHTOA, you can just write it like this. Okay, and we can see that sine uses the opposite or the hypotenuse, so we'll be using the sine function. So you can either use the triangles there to figure out which one you will be using, or you can just write SOHCAHTOA like I have, which is far easier. But like I said, if you do use the triangles to work out the side length or the angles, then it's worth drawing the triangles out to identify which function you will be using. Thank you for watching.